why would I even be talking about firstborns?
No, the thing is this, it's trying to set a standard, because if it's a scientific method, there's data collection and there has to be data on something. So in my opinion, that's what I was asking you. What are these things that we can categorize?
So you want us to go and search what trauma is?
The thing
I'm saying that the description of it actually doesn't give the answer. I've just checked. The thing is, I'm wondering, what is the threshold to call something traumatic? Because it seems
anything that affects you, it's traumatic.
That seems very.
At a rejection.
But you know the thing.
It can be traumatic. If you don't like rejection, being rejected will be.
Who likes rejection?
Then it's traumatic for you. Then rejection is traumatic for you.
It could just be like rejection happens. It's nothing.
Mnafaa allow niende heads on elbow kwa sababu sipati hiyo chance. Sipati hiyo chance. Sipati juu naenda ku respond alafu mnanirespondia. We are having so what hata nimesahau what you asked. No, but you're talking about
Baiko wanted to speak,
What I was asking you, what would be the threshold of what something is traumatic? You know,
as I will borrow what our therapist has said. Yes. And I'd say that trauma is anything that affects you. So, for you, I don't know what affected you, and I don't know what affects you. For me, there are so many things that affect me that tukianza hata kulista hapa hatutamaliza. So they could be traumatic for me, but nikikuja nikuelezea about hata maybe utashangaa surely. Kwa nini huyu okay, hiyo imposter syndrome. Why would Doreen come and start a YouTube channel and interview this person and at the same time afikirie aende disappear from YouTube for 1 year? Alafu akuja ambie Karembo hapa that you know what, I was struggling with imposter syndrome. And you realize like I've interacted with so many people, it's not a women thing. Even men face imposter syndrome, despite the fact that you say that it was discovered by a feminist.
Not discovered,
coined yes. By a feminist.
No, we have male feminists.
That's an issue. That's an issue.
You said there were two women.
No, the thing is, you say that men also, of course, when an idea can be advantageous to anyone to get something, they will take. That's my.
So how do you think imposter syndrome is advantageous to feminists?
If you had a responsibility and at some point you need an excuse as to why you didn't get to where you are supposed to. You could say let's go back to my example.
Let's go back to my example. I didn't have a responsibility to shoot a YouTube video.
Yes.
I was just doing it for fun. I like doing it. So, like, I don't have any responsibility, but I can come and say I had imposter syndrome and I didn't shoot for 1 year.
But if I asked you, if that's assuming that's your case.
It's not assuming, it is.
No, I'm going to assume. The thing is this. What I'm saying is that wouldn't there another person use the same excuse or say, I had imposter syndrome to get out of answering for what they didn't do? Is that a possibility?
There is a possibility they would.
Yes, that was my point. And my point is that I find that to be more the case than not.
Okay, and that's your opinion.
That is coming from a place of a probability that has not happened. If you have facts of saying, well, let me finish.
You said found it's most people.
Yes. Most. Which people? Yes. Which most? No, he said, what if most people use it? But we say there is a possibility, but we do not have an example for it. She said for her side, it's a fact. And he said, he's assuming it. But and the reason I'm saying, let me finish. The same way you're saying is 1 or 2. It's what we're trying to tell about character, about psychology. It's a pattern that they're learning. The fact that you're saying 1 or 2, whichever the case.
It has to be population.
And the way I wanted to shut this conversation was this. There's a point to say this. For you, it feels more that you find it's more like people who are trying to like push a certain agenda and you don't want to go towards it. So that's why I was like, if you don't really believe in some of this information that is there, we don't really need to get into it because you'll only demystify it further than instead of trying to understand where everybody's coming from and why they are relating to it. Because if now you're saying the possibility of somebody using that imposter syndrome to get away from being accountable, that means you are relating to the kind of message we are talking on.
Yes.
Yes. And that is why I say you might say
that's
you
a
don't,
projection.
and that's
Not necessarily.
okay.
It could be.
Nampatie Baiko simu, kuna watu
Baiko
wameraise
anaongea,
mikono
and you
huko.
see that's the thing. You might, whatever we are talking of maybe is our trauma, but you might have traumas that you don't want to actually embrace. Because if we are going to look at it from the point of relationships, like we're talking about instability in when it comes to the emotions and things like parenthood, like the question would be, what is your opinion? What is your experience?
Yes.
Those are the kind of things that we want to engage with, not where you're like, no, this is people who are trying to push this.
No, the thing
These
is,
are terminologies
okay,
that are being
so
pushed.
you're putting boundaries against how I think. And I would
No,
accept.
I'm not.
But those are the things that
But
you
you're
want to
also
engage with.
doing that as
But
well.
this is the same thing you're doing
every
to.
time I preface my thing, this is my opinion.
And then you've said
But
we
this
should
is
have
also
a
our
standard. You've just
opinion.
said that we should have
That's
a certain
my
standard.
opinion.
We also have
That's
an.
my
We also
opinion.
have
That's also her
opinion.
opinion.
You counter my opinion with yours. I've told
But you
why.
want me
But
to
she's also
stop
told you
having
why
an
I'll go.
opinion
Ama
to
she
push
hasn't
it
told
to
you
what?
why.
Anyway,
that
Baiko.
is the point
That's
of the
also her
argumentation.
opinion.
Yes,
You see,
Baiko, you
yes,
can
but
take
you see,
over.
her opinion can't be that you can't talk like that.
The way you've said you can standardize, and
I'm
they
not
tell you
saying
you can't
you cannot
standardize,
talk.
that's an
Why?
opinion.
Why? You see, no, I'm saying if she says that, that means that I can't speak.
The way
Yes.
the way you've said that you will standardize me, then also I can't speak because me, I'm not in that standard.
No, I said you standardize. You counter with why not or why for. Like, so that's the whole point.
Because standardization is conformity. I don't subscribe to conformity.
Yes, so, yeah.
So
Yes,
I'll
make
tell
your
you,
argument like that.
I don't
So you
understand
see,
the
that's what
standardization.
That's what I mean. You counter, you say that is conformity.
But that's what
and you
she's
make
saying.
the point.
Meaning you can go on talking. It's just an opinion. It's not a fact.
Yes.
You understand? Like when she says, like this is how you're supposed to talk. That's her opinion. Unaweza kuwa like, okay, I get your opinion, but me, I'm still gonna talk. You get?
Yes.
It's
That's
not
what I
that
told
when
you.
she tells you
That's what
that,
I
at
told
now this is what you're gonna do. It's just her opinion.
Yeah, but she did respond to you.
But anyway, tupateni
Baiko,
Baiko.
as yeah.
Anyway,
Yo, Mr. Baiko.
Hey, if you know how much I'm enjoying this, but alafu nisikie Karambo amesema I want to shut down this conversation. Where are you going? Where are you guys going, bwana?
There's a break that's coming.
In fact,
Please.
mimi nataka Albu arudi kwenye alikuwa anasema these feminists are shutting down a whole conversation and is a heterosexual male. Mimi nataka ende hapo bwana.
Albo,
mnaenda hapo. Nataka urudi hapo kwenye the feminists are shutting the conversation down and you are a heterosexual male.
Which feminist?
Us, yeah, we're being called. Baiko is just a gaslighter. So
Okay, I wasn't aware. I thought
Maybe
even
am I part of it?
feminist.
No,
Yes. Even Diesel is a feminist.
Ati Baiko,
Mimi ngoja nimuende bwana.
He just wants chaos.
Nataka arudi hapo atuelezee what he meant by that. Mimi aliniachia hapo.
For heterosexual male.
Yeah, so she amesema heterosexual.
Ati what did you mean by that, Albo?
What do I mean? How?
It was when he was explaining about why he's not gay. When you asked, like, what are the reasons this society hasn't turned you gay? And he gave those, his community, his heterosexual, the way he, whatever, and the way he thinks. So, Baiko probably just wanted...
He
Baiko,
wasn't listening.
He wasn't listening.
Your question is not valid.
it's redundant.
And then you come out. You know, when Alba was saying that everything is not subjective, I think there's a problem there.
Ati?
Because when Alba was saying that everything is not subjective, I have an opposing opinion that everything is subjective. Because even he himself, when he was saying that there's a group of people that form these words and then they control the way these words are being used. I actually wanted to ask him, where did he get the term heterosexual men? Did it come from the same people?
Masculinity.
Unaweza sema mwanaume, uume.
Where did you get that?
Unaweza sema uume ni masculinity. Haikuja yani.
Ilitoka wapi
wana? Chomo nyene kama ni mkisio, homo saa.
Unazaliwa inakuja kwa
But kama
inakaa mnayo. It comes with the more.
Kama wewe ni mwanaume, as in, well, go ahead and define what type of a man you are. If it didn't come from somewhere.
What? Unasema nini?
Can you guys hear me?
No, what
Yeah, we can hear you. Ebu repeat the question.
Sorry.
Nasema, if there's something you said that two things are definite. You are a man and they are women. That's correct. But if you know this, that you cannot change from being man to anything else, why then go ahead and try to explain the kind of man that you are, in that you are a heterosexual male?
Because that was asked of me. When you ask answers, I tend to
Who
ask
asked?
questions when I'm asked. You didn't listen to what I was saying, that's why you're asking this question. If you had listened to the context of
Yes,
what
I
we were
did.
discussing, no, if you had listened to the context of what we are discussing, you wouldn't be asking this question because it doesn't make sense.
I'm saying I didn't listen.
Huh?
Nasema sikusikiza, ndio maana nauliza tena.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was it was in the middle of a very long I can't even
Submission.
remember. Do you remember? I can't remember what that was.
I can remember.
Doreen can remember. Doreen can
And
remember.
we have Karim Buba as one of the speakers who want to ask questions.
Kwanza I remember part yenye alisema because psychologists mnakumbuka
Because psychologists
said something about it.
Or the way it was about the way you ask him, why hasn't he not turned out to be gay? Then
he said
akasema
it was culture.
There's something he said about
he said
psychology
it that
as
it's
well.
the way the psychology you may come up na hizi.
So I wondered kwani tunakuwa sometimes tuna support psychology,
Sometimes we are not.
we are not.
Because
And I support kwa technology.
because yeah,
Ikikuja huku kwingine kwa emotions.
Ikikuja kwa emotions.
yeah, you should not
kidogo.
believe kuna
Mention majina, wacha kuogopa. Mention majina.
Okay, we have Karim Buba. Karim, uko na swali? Ama you have a comment? Karim Baba.
Karembo, ukimiss mtu hivyo ndio unaanza conversation.
Guy, at what? I can't hear you.
Bwana unanisikia?
Tunakusikia, go ahead.
Dizo ni aje? Sibila mimi.
Tuko fiti bro, manze kwaje?
Mwela. Nasikia tu akitoa his opinions, but I just want to add, and I'll start, I think, by a question. I'll just put it across panel, like, you guys think if by any chance unapata maybe raised in the same environment, like parents and whatever, that one turns out to be, let's say, medical, and the other one turns out to be approved for maybe just things don't work out for him. In the respect to attachments and the conversation around it. What's your take on that, Dizo?
I'd say everyone is unique. So if everyone is given space to be who they are, then they end up being different people, even if you're from the same environment. One person is good with farming, the other person is good with tech. You know, the other person is... So it just comes from uniqueness. What's your take?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
He was asking about...
I think I look forward to the break. Dogo.
Okay. So...
But you can tell me what he asked. Sorry.
Okay, so he was asking about how, when you have people from a different household.
From the same household.
From the same household,
parents.
same parents, growing up all together, having different kind of careers. Somebody's a doctor, maybe another one is in the military, maybe another one is an artist, all this. So Dizo says that as so long as the parenting allows them to be their own person, they grow into their own personalities and be free and do that. So.
Yeah, takes me back to when we were talking about being emotionally is it stable or
Stress.
mature parents? And if you are stable and emotionally stable and mature parent, you give your child a chance and a space to explore and become who they are. But then again, we've seen also people who are not from necessarily stable parenthood or whatever, still ending up in different spaces. I do think, of course, experiences shape us, and sometimes we're just inherently gifted in different spaces. So it might not necessarily be anything to do with emotions or psychology, but sometimes even it has to do with giftings. For instance, if you are very, like, from childhood, you are very in touch with, like, easy to vitu nataka kufix vitu, maybe there are chances you might end up being an engineer. If you are maybe vocal, tulikuwa tunaambiwa ukikuwa wakili ama whatever, you like arguments, maybe, which is not maybe necessarily true. But if you have been always vocal about things, about nini, you might be interested, even when you're choosing your career, you might be interested in looking at public speaking, something that puts you in international relations, is public policy. You see these things. So it also has to do with giftings, because of course, giftings, exposure, what kind of school are you in? What kind of, who are you seeing growing up? Your parents, are your parents teachers? Are your parents lawyers, doctors, whoever? Your people you are around. So of course it has, like, there's a lot of things that influence career choice and how people turn up and turn out to be.
Yes. So Karim, I hope we have somewhat answered that. We're about to take a break. We'll be back.
Ngoja amalize Karim naye. Umemfukuza.
Si kumfukuza, si you'll be the one to take it up after. Nini?
Karim uko sawa?
Jesus. What's wrong with you?
What your break? What your break?
Okay. Patia mtu nataka space. I feel fit ya kwe.
Si you want to talk to Karim, sumuongeleshe direct. Wacha kunieka inside hapo. Wewe wacha trauma.
So for someone to be a lawyer, lazima kuwe na kierere.
For someone to be a wewe. Mambo.
It was a nice one.
Karembo alikuwa anataka tu kuonyeshana.
Hapana, nani ame
Sema tu, you've just taken your ass to the
put
camera.
your phone down. When nini?
Are we on?
Yeah, we are on.
No, we are not yet on.
We are on. Mic zetu ziko on.
Producer, we are on.
Very on. Weka simu chini.
Ukisema on, sasa unamaanisha
Nini unaongea vibaya? So, nuanda unashinda ukinipa unaniprojectia mashida zako. Eh? Mimi ni kumassage. Unanipea pesa ngapi? Bra. Mimi hata mimi ni
useme tu pia unataka ngapi. Ni tumefika hapo tena ukako.
Wacha nifungue OnlyFans alafu niwaambie ni how much.
Hii ni massage tu yangu. Hii ni massage yangu tu kuisa hivi.
Nitakufanya ta 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 ta.
See some one or two guys saying, then you will see 3,000 people. Oh, queen, my God, my goddess.
Umesema kina uyugi.
How many of those can she
monitor? See that those queen.
Yes.
And I monitor it.
And that's why she'll be on a plane.
Imagine.
Ameonyeshana
magoti.
Look, there is no merit to that, but that's biology. You can't fight it.
But think about it. Isn't that not part of psychology? She played with the psychology.
Understanding it. Yes, you see the why do people and after on base instinct.
Yeah.
This entire thing love at the bottom, that's what it is. If you understand that, that's why wanauza hata toilet paper.
Oh.
Who sells
Unajua watu wakusikia elbow.
from tissue paper to a vehicle?
Oh, it's natural is the okay.
From a vehicle to
yes.
wanajua wanaume. Why is she there?
Inaitangwa sales.
Sex
Marketing.
sells.
Yes.
Anyway,
By the-
guys, wacha nifike nikafunge
Okay.
wazi.
Sawa. It
I
was a
enjoyed-
pleasure.
I enjoyed
Thank
that
you.
one. Nisikuangi mbaya, very
Very.
argumentative.
Yeah.
Sawa.
Sawa, next one.
Sijui kwa nini kila
Tutapatana.
time nikitaka kukuita najisikia kuita Vivian.
Trauma.
Unakaa tu Vivian.
Trauma. Dizo is
Lakini sijui Vivian.
is projecting pathologically projecting his trauma.
Now that
Is that
Albo has
Vivian?
left, Mimi I'm taking Albo's side, I'm also not projecting any trauma.
You wacha na mambo zako yani zako ni
But
mingi.
anyway, we are back.
Aya. Project.
It's a safe space.
No, just go there.
No, she was just joking.
Ukata. This was wrong.
Mimi,
Me, I'm about where's my phone? Nataka kuwasomea preaching. You're good, eh?
The previous, before, like tukianza, ulisema that you're available to. Ama you said something along being.
This also says he's
Available to many people.
he's
Yes,
emotional.
like, yeah,
He's
like,
available,
I
yeah.
have the capacity to accommodate. Like,
Okay,
other people.
so do you say that upfront to people who might only need you to be available for them alone?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like as in it's, and then it's not that I am going to look for other people. Like,
People
you know,
come to you.
They find you.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
so it's this way. Relationship right now for me is not a focus.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's not a topic for me now, but to make it a topic, I need to be talking about this.
No.
No, I'm saying yeah, like even how I talk to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I am not looking for women because it's not something that it's a focus for me right now in my life. Now, for those who find me, I choose those who choose me. Unaelewa? So if we are in alignment, then we are in alignment. Hakuna ati now ati bado sijui ni kucheze, sijui ni kudanganya. Like, just plain. So we just flow on that. So yenye mimi nasema that I can accommodate more. I'm not saying I might end up this life, but then maybe just either without a woman or even just with one woman, you know. But it doesn't dispute that I can actually accommodate more than one.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Ni venye sasa kama huyu, I always tell her. She always
Did you see the way he did it?
She always
Kama
likes
huyu.
placing herself like a brother.
No, wait.
Wait. I
Kama
finish.
huyu.
Sasa ndio kama huyu, yani huyu ni mmoja wao. Unaelewa? Sasa she
Kama
always likes
huyu.
putting it at yeye ni brother hii mtaa.
Producer kama huyu.
Na mujaribu kumwonyesha everyone in this group can fuck her. Yes.
Uongo.
Karembo, let me
Hiyo kitu uongo.
let me land on my point.
Emotional.
blah 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 blah.
Everyone in this group can fuck her.
Nani ametumia kitu kama nanitumia?
Intro producer.
Everyone in this group. Simwache ni land point before nisahau.
No, it's funny.
Everyone in this group can fuck her.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way everyone in this group chooses not to.
Yeah.
Unajua, the mere fact
Maturity.
we're not fucking her is not that we can't. Ati because she looks like a brother. No, it's just that we are not going to fuck you out of choice, out of alignment of our relationship we are having in the studio. So inakuwaga ni ile wewe venye unaweza kuja uniambia ati by the way unapendaga now that uko na mimi kuna mwingine uko na bana napenda wengi sana. I just decide to be with you but I maanisha ati sasa siwezi penda wale ati sasa nikudanganya ati ni wewe tu. Unaona, it's intentionality.
Ina need kwa emotional.
Nimeshangaa, nimeunderstand. But nimeshangaa sasa Karembo.
Huyo aelewangi. Huyo anakuwa reactive.
No, nimeshangaa acha nimuulize tu.
Yes.
Okay. What's the Ati?
Baiko, you can insert yourself in the conversation.
Naambia bizo ya nyamaza watu waongee. Mbona unakuwa karibu leo?
Blah 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 blah.
So nilikuwa nashangaa. Okay, kuna kwanga na hii aspect ya like in a friend group ama in a group. Someone like say there's a group of guys and then there's a lady, be just one or two. Then like I don't know whether it's familiarity, but most of those ladies say that wao ni brothers, like ama like wao ni is it that being a lady friend connotes a different thing with being a brother?
It's how would I put it? I think the way I look at it is because of with these guys, no matter how the dumbest things nezafanya, something like I probably will not do in front of, like, let's say the person I'm seeing like romantically, these ones won't judge me. Like they'll just, you know, they'll just make joke about it. Like they'll, you know. So the fact that we can be that brutal and be honest with one another, we don't get to. It's a place where now you cannot see them in that, like in a sexual way, in a kutoka, ama romantic or whatever. Yeah. So ukijipata like munaweza hang out in a place where hata they don't, like watu wamefika mahali they can draw that line. You as a chick, you unasema tamini brother. So there's no time for me to be like, yes. Watu wako lakini si hawa. And my bro.
Okay.
These are the guys that
ifanyika in a capacity of you just being their good friend and not you being brother.
What are you saying? I have seen No, si hata kujaribu. I have seen these people in their element. So that is why. So ni kama ile bro code nishaingishwa. Sasa mbona unachoma?
The same thing.
Mute. Producer mute. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Emotional damage.
You know what is happening right now? Dizzo is having a moment of Sayana project his jealousy.
No,
so he was an assignment. There's an assignment last year. He sends me to an assignment. I remember I was there with I think 6 dudes with Akina Vince and all the likes. Me natumwa nataka hule. Dizzo was so lazy. He couldn't go for himself. And then he sent me to a place where dem ni moja machalini wasita kwa hiyo meza. I go pick that chick. Chick's like, I can't leave. My guy is here. But let's dance. Ndio the guy doesn't know that mimi nimetumwa assignment. See, I'm saving her life.
Nimetumwa lakini nimekulike. As in huyu anaenda ananirusha game huko. I'm here trusting a woman.
No. Producer sikukuletea. Baiko sikukuletea. Vince sikukuletea. Then kidogo. Ngoja. Then guess what Dizzo does? When finally somebody wants to speak, after like 5 selection, Dizzo goes, hides out somewhere. Gets so comfortable in a chair like this and sleeps.
After umejituma.
Imagine. So hizo nimeachwa. Hapana. Mimi nimeachwa kwa meza. I'm taking care of the drinks. I'm there alone and people have disappeared.
Yeah.
Unajua the video.
Mimi niko na swali.
Which video? At the elevator?
No.
They're dancing.
The dancing.
But who took the video? It was this jealous man.
Yes.
Mimi niko na swali.
Baiko.
Resources.
I have a question.
Baiko.
And this question goes to Doreen. Doreen, unapenda mandizi yenye iko na black spots?
Ati napenda, sijui kwa nina struggle kusikia.
Unapenda mandizi iko na black spots?
Mandizi?
You know the way bananas.
Yes.
Kidogo tu.
Si mingi sana. Unajua sana hiyo black spots they form because imefinya sana. So imagine candles being sent to zidi imeripe. You inafinya either brutal impact or denting. So unatuma Karembo ametuma kuita wasichana alafu anakuja kama wako na black spots.
Zimejaa
Would you take
ama
it?
like
Guys,
Amesema shikashika huko yeye included.
Guys,
so black spots ni mingi.
ati sasa ni mimi nashika. Guys, I think
Okay.
Alafu man, yes,
Thank you.
Karim
Thank you
alikuwa,
for walking me through.
remember Karim
Buba.
Karim had a question. Yeah.
Unajua Baiko, these akishaingia element kumtoa huko ni ngumu.
Tumeng'ang'ana.
But yeah, Dizo, of course nimesikia kuna guest hapo anaitwa Doreen.
Kwani
Anyway,
umuoni kwa
Karembo.
YouTube?
Unaweza ingia YouTube muone mazee, usiogope.
Hajafinywa.
Ushaanza kujitetea pia wewe na mapema.
Mimi unajua nateta sababu kuna mse pale hivyo anapenda hapana.
Karim, go ahead.
Karim unaogopa.
But yeah. I'm allergic to peas. But yeah, when before the break days of that question I posed earlier, and it was in the context of two kids, let's say for instance, growing up in the same household, and one turns out to be way different from the other one, and of course same situation to the other one. But how? Just before maybe I give my perspective on that, I'll just use two examples. I think one is my grandfather, Baiko knows him, and the other one is somebody, of course, one of these up. Just two scenarios in a brief. Elon, we have Elon and my grandfather. But when you look at the situation of Elon, like for instance, his childhood, he had that we normally say not a normal childhood story because his parents are divorcing, and alikuwa ile design yenye akachoose the dad only again to find out that it was a mistake before, because the dad allegedly, I don't know about that, he says he was toxic. Situation yake haikuwa fiti na mzae pia wale watu wenye kuescape hiyo nini akaingia kwa tech in terms of, but he got that childhood yenye the dad had everything, he was well taken care of, but apparently kulikuwa na toxicity in it. And you've seen Elon build what Elon build up to today, taking people to whatever place he takes them. And we have another scenario of now my grandfather, from hailing from the late, grew up from again not a pardon.
At the grandfather hailing from?
I'm saying hailing him from the great European country, of course, the German country. He built what we truly see today to be one of the greatest, not economies, but the country in terms of automotive, medical, automotive, engineering, and whatever. But if you look at his childhood, he came from a point of lack, scarcity. He faced the death from your own 3 siblings died, partner divorced, mom and dad was also toxic. But if you look at the two guys, one is considered to be the villain and the other one to be the hero. But growing up, one turned out their childhood to be positive, and the other one actually, both of them, they had a positive need at the end of the life. Because if you look at Hitler, as much as if you forget the negative side of things, of course, the one that people tend to focus on, he built the country that is today Germany. Elon here has had the same experience, but he built something that actually is kept to today. So contrasting the two like scenarios, utapata childhood yao mostly shaped sana like the people they are today, and that came from a point of maybe zile mishaps in growing up, whatever, but all of them had the similar outcomes when it came to doing things and making things work for them. So that's why I went back to the question I asked earlier. Like, is it only from a point of the way Doreen was saying, nurture or maybe nature, maybe just coping of attachments to things and turning out to be maybe wins or some sort of thing?
So that one comes from a point of turning your like your coping mechanism, like using your coping mechanism for strength, you know, because in the same situation kuna wenye wamereiziwa venye kina Elon wamereiziwa and they victimized their life. Unaona? But Elon didn't victimize his life. Hitler didn't victimize his life. And then pia ukiangalia whether one is a hero or not, that depends on the narrative, you know, and the agenda intended. The constant is both of them are impactful. That should just be the constant. Now, whoever is good or whoever is bad depends on the side you take. You understand? Kuna mtu mwenyewe saizi mwenye ako kwa religion anaangalia Elon kama 666. That's a fucking demon, bro. Because ana introduce technology.
He's Antichrist.
Antichrist. This is an Antichrist. Unaona? So, one way or another, wewe ndio unaona Elon kama hero. I mean, there are a lot of people who are not seeing him as a hero.
Alafu, something else, if you look at that Elon situation and then you're talking about the grandparents, Elon probably alikuwa ataka push the boundary to go beyond where his granddad alikuwa amefika. So it could probably be a place of, you know, ile kuji establish, like there are kids who want to make their parents more proud. So they push out and beyond. Like instead of now doing probably maybe the grandfather was doing a certain science, you push it to another limit, like just to get those approvals. So, and imagine this.
Like it's a positive coping mechanism.
And also look at his own coping mechanism. What is he doing? He does not have a wife, but how many children does he have? So he's decided to choose, like, for the next generation that he brings forth, they should do things that are greater than he has done. So he's even doing the selection of different kind of women who bring forth his seed. So it's coming from, again, a place of survival, a place of ashajielewa, that self-awareness. Like, he knows what he wants. He's like, I've seen this marriage didn't work for my parents, didn't work for him. So he's trying things in a different way. So who says that's a bad thing? It's his way of coping, you know?
Unajua ukiangalia
So
some of the things he's learned, some of his wisdom, they come from his failure, from his processes in his company. Not even from life, from how he remained consistent with akifail anarudia, akifail hivyo.
Alafu umeona hizo ndizo trauma zake. South Africa
So
was his trauma.
Kuna watu wenye who have turned their traumatic past into good, and that's the now unawapata wengine it happens to them naturally. Unajua, like as in it's musema ni kama yani ni luck. But kina Elon au ni wale wenye wanafollow ni side nyingine si luck, whereby now you have to be hit with a life-changing event, my friend. A character development, click your self-awareness, budo. Ujipate, kumbe I need to do this. Kumbe I'm on my own on this. So there are people who need a life-changing event. Then there are people who it just triggers in them. They realize, hey, you know what? I need to know my value. Like, kami nakumbuka, there was a guy back in primary. Hey, manze, huyo mjamaa alikuwa asshole. Na alikuwa mchoyo. Fuck. But saizi nakuja na realize mtu huyo hakuwa asshole ama mchoyo. He was very careful with his things. Na mara mingi alikuwa anakuja na kwambia nikikupatia utaiharibu na utanilipa. Sasa hiyo ilikuwa tunaona ni uchoyo hiyo.
Say ni msewa mabutt plugs.
Na mmekuja huko haraka.
Baiko topic yako imeingia.
But anyway, so like as in there are people who it just happens in them, yani. Ile wanakuja wana realize. I think pia it depends on the environment you're brought up in. If you bring up a child in an environment where they feel seen, where they feel heard, then they learn to understand their value. They learn to understand their worth. And once they understand that, it triggers self-awareness haraka. They don't need to go through a character development. Unapata tu mtu hata pengine ako kama hata huyu Doreen hapa 23.
Lazima shout.
By the
consent.
Na tayari anafikiria hivi.
Wewe Dizo.
kusema my
Sisi
age.
23 tulikuwa
Dizo.
married.
Serious.
Wewe Dizo.
Producer.
Now you understand why nakwambia, I understand assignment.
Ati go ahead Karim.
Kaina nyongo.
Dizo unasema ile ya miaka. Unajua 23 ndio ya miaka kwa.
Mimi wacha ni kuitumia kama consent.
Ni yani ndio sa unit hawatakangi next year.
Mungu lakini nimeambiwa kwa 21 so wacha niachie hapa. Lakini 23 by then ndio inakuwa best. 23 ni mtu yani amepitia kashida fulani maisha yake.
Anajielewa.
Bado hajajielewa vile lakini anajielewa vile.
Kuna ka direction anaona.
Ako na ka direction. Yeah. Alafu ni ka guidance tu kadogo tu anahitaji. Ka guidance tu kadogo. From South Nyanza.
Let me tell you.
Not just a Luo.
Acha niwape story. So, sijika producer ulikuwa unanifollow your time. Ama tulikuwa tunafollowiana your time on X. But kuna time nilikuwa na a certain season. Bye ukisikia tu Doreen, kwanza hata nilikuwa na host space. Guess ilikuwa about Luo men. Yani nilikuwa down that road and trust you me, I've never like interacted with a Luo man in that way.
You hadn't?
I think it was just
supposed to happen. It's happening now.
My friend. Ukipatana na South Nyanza au ukipatana ni kina Baiko wana fake ni Wajaluo. Kwa Kikuyu wengi mtu wao wana fake sasa ni Wajaluo.
Mimi nafuata.
Wewe.
But anyway, all I'm just saying is you do what to theory. But anyway, kuna watu wengine utapata ni that ka guidance is all they need when they are going through the journey. They trigger the journey on their own. So the guidance is more of understanding them rather than giving them attention. It's more of yani ile juu unaweza pata tu mjamaa ako 26 vitu zimemwakia fiti lakini ako very reckless. Then unapata tu ukimuunderstand tu yeye mwenyewe anajialign. Unajua si hata umwambie yani ile tu ukae tu wenyewe baadhi na kupata.
So I think the peak for me, the peak for any woman, at a age, na see whatever, when you know who you are, for a woman. And the reason I'm saying this is women, okay, sijui kani something na happening for men, but acha tu niongea about women. Women act the way they act. Venye tu mesema, it's not necessarily about attention. It's about being understood. And one thing na jingi watu ni for self-awareness, you have to intentionally expose yourself to people, places, and things. Such that, at the end of the day, huamki tu unaona wale wazazi umekana au kutoka kuja to this world. And hukaina that childhood friend ulijuana tangu. Then, like, as in, huishi place uliishi tangu, you know, as in try to expose yourself. Because, like, say for instance, I met you today, already nishaanza kufikiria about maybe like a certain thing in a certain aspect. Nimemeet Karembo today to have a conversation. Nimeanza kufikiria something like, for instance, sikuwa ifikiria hiyo story ya detachment in that light. So saizi nimeanza kuona, hata in my life, maybe as a child, maybe kuna ways ninge prosper better if maybe my parents detached. So you see such things, you live and you learn, and maybe even when I get to start having my 7 children, nita
Karim Buba, I hope unasikiza 7 goddamn children.
You should be starting
from one man.
Ni possible.
Unajua Dizo. Unajua tunaifanya aje? Tunaifanya kaa good 6 days alafu hiyo 7 na rest.
Sasa una rest aje siku ya 7 na bado anataka wa 7. Hadi hiyo siku ya rest hiyo siku unampa.
Unakaita Sunday.
Unamuita Sunday. Yaani uko na watoto kutoka Monday hadi Sunday.
Sunday Olise.
Kwanza huyo dethroned child ndio anafaa kwa Sunday. Umpatie siku ya Mungu imsaidie juu ya huko.
So exposure is very key because self-awareness inakuwa sparked by experiences. For me, that is experiences zimefanya nianze kuwa self-aware experiences, meeting people, sparking those conversations, even conversations we're having today. Like for me, I keep on saying conversations zinanijenga. Like nothing. Even like unajua kusoma kitabu itani take forever. You see forever, it depends na the size of book. But sitting with a person or standing
inaishi for 1 day. A fly lives for 1 day.
No,
That's
7
forever.
days.
That's forever for a fly. Or 7 days.
Yeah.
So 7 days is forever for a fly. So
Imagine.
if a book can take you 7 days, that's forever.
Imagine. But I can sit with you, maybe like, I don't know how old you are, but nitasoma maybe that book in maybe.
How old does this look?
Dizo ni mzee.
Go there.
I miss mind, by the way.
No, just saying.
Bonge la mzao bado.
Hata ukisoma 17 ni sawa.
How old do you look?
Dizo ni mzee.
Just go there. It's fine.
37.
Imagine umepata.
Okay. I tend to know people's age.
Use that as an ability. Be intentional about it.
Because imagine you're not the first one. It's either I missed by 1 year or 2.
Yule. Maybe
Wacha
nikwambie sasa.
Tuachie hapo.
Maybe una guess fiti mtu mwenye ako fit. Ushajaribu mtu mnono?
Ni abai kama yeye.
Unaangalia mtu mnono hivi. Anakaa mzee kumbe ako 24.
No, but you know,
for me, I think the reason I gauge from interaction and from how you are talking, from your experiences. So naona
you can tell.
See hata from how you look.
You are actually a listener.
Very, very, very. She's very.
Karembo, are you learning something today? Or was it by
Dizo. Nani?
Yes.
Doreen, mimi niko na swali ya Doreen. Based from Baiko among, how old do you think he is?
Wewe ngoja Baiko ulize swali.
Kwanza hata sikuwa nafikiria he's big. Mentionate he's big.
Pia is a hishi.
Baiko.
Unadhani ako how old?
Utamwona next time.
Mentionate ni big. Mimi sikuwa nafikiria from
hiyo toshele kitu peke yake.
From listening to him sikuwa expect.
No, he toshes that it alone. Yeye ni mfupi. Kijana mnaona mfupi round mweupe.
So tukienda gani lazima.
Don't be shocked, guys.
Because sasa huko mwingine huko kidogo sana.
Hatuwezi toshea. You know those big people ukikaa kwa driver bado anakuguza. Yeah.
The beauty about him, he doesn't like eating. So hapo mumwachia.
So ninafanya.
Nakula ugali na kijiko. Unajua kitu pekee.
Gosh. Wonderful.
Ugali mayai na mboga nakula na
kijiko. Hata area atumie fork.
Umeharibu. Let me just say this.
Walikuwa wanafikiria wananichomea, kumbe wananijenga.
Yenyewe basi I think it's different people. Sawa watu wa Murima ni wanaelewa.
Baiko, utajitetea ukiwa wapi?
No weapons formed against me shall prosper.
Yes, no weapons.
Right. But wait, you are done.
Hata ushani.
Ilikuwa ni Baiko ndo alikuwa anakuuliza swali.
Yeah.
Una fan?
Yeah, where's the okay, yeah, Baiko, on to you.
Like in Katabu.
Baiko uliza swali.
Nisikuuliza swali.
Ulikuwa unataka
kuongea kitambo na nikamaliza.
Karim baba.
Karim alikuwa anataka kuongea. Na huko tu kunanyesha, so I might disappear in a few.
Kama
wewe tunakutumia
tunakujua
dawa, inafika saa hizi
ni
December
masaa ya
tu.
kulala wazae.
Jamaa bro.
Ati mvua
Kwanza
inanyesha.
tumepitisha na 2 hours. Sawa.
Ratish tu. Haya, hata tukimalizia karibu.
Unajua nimerealize Karembo atakaangi nikibonga na Baiko. Karembo sijakuwa around what? Bwana.
But then you're not the only one.
Mbona unakuwa na
Even
shida?
Diesel has an issue
Hapo
because you
nakusupport.
cut short when he's talking with Baiko. So wachani ni mute. Hata siongei.
Karembo. I actually support Karim kwa sababu he's the only person who is trying to find out my age. So, mwacha ajiongee.
Karim.
Saki iko mimi ndo nimefanya ukamute Karembo. Ambia Bishop kitu ulikwenda kumwambia.
Hapana, Karim, you wanted to find out Baiko's age? Or how much
I asked
he
Doreen
weighs?
how old I asked Doreen how old she thinks Baiko is because she said she could tell from interaction the way they talk. So Doreen, how old do you think Baiko is?
Inatumiwa aje?
Ndio umecheka. Yaani tumia.
Where aje hizo?
Unaulizwa na Karibu.
How old do you think Baiko is?
Okay,
You not met him.
Diesel for some time, like for almost 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So ambia Karim next time maybe utamjibu ya hang out na fat
please,
people.
next time.
Okay.
Ati?
Na Baiko unajua pia sasa tena hiyo si sauti yake, ni mic.
Ni mic.
He has to reinforce his voice like you can't be far. Bro, pick a struggle. You can't have a small voice.
These wasiwasi ni nini? Man, I'm not even there on the set. Sasa si watu nifike bana.
These guys
But
are just...
anyway, so topic ya leo, that was that. We were discussing on hiyo part here, and I don't think we even went deep on it.
We didn't go deep.
Like, as in, me where I was coming from is single parenting is putting an obligation on people to be a certain way so that they can take care of their fuck ups. Like, you'll have kids and then you want to make it that for me and you to connect, you have to take my whole package. And someone who doesn't that undergo through a cancel culture. Oh, that's not a real man. Oh, that's a hoe. If she can't raise kids, she's a hoe. What of if she doesn't want kids? Like, not every woman or man is a parent. I think that's something by now millennials have had it practically. Millennials is the biggest generation that has gone through divorce. And you divorce immediately after honeymoon.
Hey.
It's terrible.
Ile mnatoka honeymoon, everyone wants to be entitled. I'm now a wife and I'm now a husband.
Or like maybe
why?
Like a year, there's always something.
See, before that we were performing. Hatuko tunaambiana ukweli.
Have you noticed guys in your gen, are they getting married? Are you finding yourself like me era yangu in 20 million, I can't even count how many weddings I went.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay. Me very, very, very hard.
Very hard. So it explains.
So for us, we went through it practically. Watu sasa wakaamua wanatoka unarealize. Co-parenting imejaa millennial. Sisi ndio actually tumeaccept hiyo idea we can actually co-parent.
Then why were the generations before that staying?
Because kuvumilia. Tulikuwa tunaambiwa that's what a marriage is.
And you're not supposed to speak.
Shrink. Settle. You know, so now unaangalia unaona mwanamume umemshinda akili. Like unaona kuna venye unge make better decisions. Lakini juu ni bwanako.
And I also think
till death do you part.
Your religion ilikuwa na very big issue to play, because like even the Bible says, I think in Luke, that if a man divorces and goes and gets married to another woman, that's adultery. And vice versa. So I think even the level millennials and the older generation again, okay,
X.
X, Gen X.
The most stupidest.
Eh,
Gen X is the
Gen
most
X.
I find them the most dangerous in terms
because
of
they're stupid.
what's their marriages. Creepy.
I think I find Gen X, the fact that ukiangalia religiosity ya Gen X na millennials,
These wanakuona sana.
worlds apart. So I think peer religion has or
Played
had
a part.
and still is playing a very, very huge part.
What do you think is happening if you look at like your Gen Z? What's happening? Would it be more of they take caution, or it's just avoiding it altogether?
Maybe avoiding it. Okay, I PSCC, I think Gen Zs pia wanna go through that. I mean the older Gen Zs, because pia it's either you don't stay, you don't want to commit, you don't want to, like, all those things. And if you don't want, like, usimesikia hizi vitu za we don't want to label it, let's just go, let's just move, let's just see where the vibe takes us. And then also the generation before us isn't doing really well in marriages. And then the marriages ziko in the limelight, to be honest, zina set standards, they are just pretending.
Yes, superficial.
Performance.
Performance. So I still do believe in the institution of marriage, to be honest.
Yes,
And I still do believe in the institution of marriage.
Cognitive dissonance is real. Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember what that was. Please remind me.
Having two beliefs that are contradicting.
But okay, these
elaborate.
so
Like what you think and what you're saying, like what you're
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
It's two different things.
Yeah.
what I'm saying and what I'm doing are different. Actions now.
Like you saying you still believe in marriage and yet you are seeing the reality of what marriage is. That's cognitive dissonance. That's self-sabotage.
So let me ask now.
So do you see it in what I'm saying? The cognitive dissonance.
Like what you say that you still believe in the institution, considering
you can see
are
it's
in an
different.
era where the institution is changing. You know? So it's one thing, you don't want to accept one thing.
No,
Either
it's
the
that
reality
I'm
or
appreciating I'm appreciating the reality. At the same time, for me, like, of course, I haven't experienced marriage, I haven't been in marriage. So for me, I am looking at how other generations are doing, how millennials are doing in terms of marriages, how we Gen Zs are taking marriages, how, all those things. But still, for me, I still recognize that a marriage can work. Yeah. So I appreciate it. I don't deny that fact.
And then again, Diesel, from the topic itself, if two emotionally stable, mature people meet and understand the assignment, marriage can work for them.
No.
If that...
No.
Don't be...
They'll come up with something.
Exactly. They'll come...
So it doesn't have to be marriage.
But
you see, what we are doing is we don't want to evolve.
We
want to force cultural beliefs ziendele, even when you're evolving. If you've realized right now, Karembo, you can have a relationship whereby we are moving on vibes.
So what are we evolving?
Why don't we name that?
That's when I'm gonna kuambiaji. In that agree, they are there together. They define the kind of marriage they want. No, the marriage doesn't have to. Marriage. You see, that's the thing. You are having an issue with that. Umeanza kuleta feminism, balbul. Stop there.
Karambo, you are evolving, but you are not evolving with your goals.
What are you talking about? I can't hear you, Baiko. What you saying?
I'm saying, nasema mnataka kuevolve, but your goals are still the same. So when I evolve, you can have.
Hata sisikii kile Baiko anasema. But what was...
You're not evolving with your goals.
But you see what I'm saying? I asked you that. You don't want me to use the word marriage. So when I remove it, we can say they can define.
Yes, not a marriage.
They can define whatever that is. Which might be the new context of marriage in that. 7 children. Yes.
They can have a strict contract of me and you are going to have 7 kids. Beyond 7 kids, everyone can do their life. It can be a contract of that. Or it can be you can have your life, but when it comes to reproduction, me and you are the only people. Yani, we are going to reproduce now. Like, as in, this a wide approach you can approach that relationship.
You know, for now, okay, na just jaulizwa, but tuliambiwa kirere.